The audit is in response to persistent criticism of the management of the intervention agency set up to address environmental and developmental challenges in the oil-rich region.
In the meantime, the Senate has also commenced investigations into the alleged clearing of water hyacinth and silts on waterways in the commission from 2017 to 2019. Well, joining us now is a public affairs analyst, Chuks Nwoko. Chuks, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning to you.
All right, the issue of the NDDC, well, criticism surrounding the activities of the NDDC didn't just start today. Even President Goodluck Jonathan had to dissolve the board at a time because of issues of alleged corruption and all of this. Well, one wonders, since 2002, when this board was, brought up to ensure development in that region, 17 years afterwards, we are still having these issues.
You're bound to have the issues because the people for who the agency was established to benefit are not interested in holding their own people accountable.
Really? Is that what it is?
That's what I think it is. I have never seen our own people agitate for accountability and scrutiny. Here and there, you hear individuals, demanding for accountability and all that. But if you go back to that region, and it's easier for you guys who are journalists who are based in Lagos to use television to communicate these things, you need to go to the place and really find out that it's an eyesore. So I think this is a bold and a courageous step by leadership in Nigeria to ask for audit reports. My concern would be how do we have the capability for this forensic exercise that we want to audit, forensic exercise that we want to do, or is it the same agencies that, I think there are just one or two major global agencies that we have that are constantly burdened with this responsibility to audit issues when we have problems. I think that this forensic audit requirement or request by the president is long overdue. 17 years. It's long overdue. And it's not really, for me, it's not necessarily to make heads rule, but just to make sure that when you are given a responsibility, you need to realize that at the end of the day, you need to give an account of your responsibility.
But there's the issue of implementation of the reports of the audit committee, because we've had situations where different agencies and different individuals have been investigated and probed, and there's a white paper that is brought out, but yet
nothing has been done about it.
Absolutely. That's a very important observation, a very key question. The people themselves, from that, our people do not like, to be asked questions about things that have been entrusted into their responsibility. They do not like to give an account. And like I said, the best way to demand and to know what has happened in that agency is not just by doing audit report, just go to the place. And you will be wondering why. I mean, we have had development agencies dating back to 1970s and all that. And all the time we have had these agencies, we're the ones that usually would advocate and ask and quarrel and fight government and center that we need this because we need development and all that. And every time. We also have a ministry now. And I think that people should account for their responsibility, and government should go a step further in responding directly to his question, making sure that when the report is released, when the report comes out, that is acted upon.
Because at the time, there were persons that were fingered in that report, and we saw that talks about EFCC perhaps, probing these persons, going ahead to investigate these persons, so to speak, but nothing happened. Again, we didn't see issues of people being brought to account, to book for issues, things they had done. Perhaps this is why things continue to fester when we talk about issues of corruption.
Absolutely. Now that you mentioned EFCC, if you look back to the states in that region, I'm always quick to say that it looks like they are the ones who drafted the EFCC laws, because they just have a way of circumventing the singular or obvious act of giving an account for what they've done. Because if you look at that region, minus the development agencies, the monies that are accrued to those states from 1998 to date is enough to make that region look like UAE and other developed economies like Singapore. Because the resources that those people have does not even compare to what we have in that region. Now, if they do not, if this audit, a forensic audit is carried out and heads do not rule, or the reports is not acted upon, it just confirms what I've always said, that there's something wrong with our people not wanting to give an account, and they're the ones who own EFCC. Because I haven't really seen people being held accountable for their actions. For those who have been in government since 1999. I haven't really seen enough of people being held accountable.
So perhaps we should see that this time around.
So this is an opportunity to see that happen.
Now, some have argued that the president's call for a forensic audit is a way of telling the leaders of that region that they are at fault for the fact that there is no commensurate development when it comes to how much the amount that has been sunk in for development in that region. What do you make of this argument?
I don't think that it's time to begin to indict people yet, even though we can see, you know, the developmental gap is palpable. It's not time yet to begin to make some assumptions. We need this president to make sure that what he has said, that he's able to do it, that this forensic audit is executed, and that when the report comes out, that, you know, that is acted upon.
As much as it is not meant to indict people, they are there, and the NDDC has been there for 17 years.
Yes.
Well, aren't they in the position to hold the commission to account, the leaders, and they're supposed to ask questions? They are in part of the society and hold a particular position.
Absolutely. But if you listen to the leaders of that region, most of them don't have a voice. They've lost their voice. And every time a man loses his voice, there's something wrong with him. It's either he has soiled his hands or he's culpable. So that's one of the ways you can measure a place where people have lost their voices. Now, those who are speaking, they're assuming not just that they are stakeholders, but they are assuming some certain positions that is not ascribed to them in the mandate that established NDDC. All these people from that region, especially the ordinary people who are supposed to be the ultimate beneficiaries, are the ones that are supposed to be speaking, or they're supposed to be speaking on their behalf. But when you listen to some of the governors, the way they are carrying on and all that, they appear like they are the owners of the place, that they are supposed to be accountable to them. That's the reverse is actually the case. Okay. They are supposed to be holding NDDC to account on the behalf of the people that they govern. But it's about, when you hear them speak, it's about, how the commission board is composed, how that we are stakeholders and all that. They're just constantly speaking for themselves, indicating that they are corrupt, indicating that their motive and their motivation is completely different. But if they are speaking for the people, they will be demanding that a place like Abo, in Indokwa East local government, there's a community that I'm very familiar with. As I speak to you, the mode of transportation of a community like that in a Niger Delta region is what they call Pontu. You have to travel on this metal platform on the river from one point to the other. And it's a shame and a disgrace to anybody from all of us from that region that type of thing is still existing in the place. The road to that place is an eyesore, and you have one oil company located in that place. Yes. The place is always flooded, the roads are bad, and people are traveling on top of water on Pontu. And right now, it used to be powered with a gen set and all that. Right now, they're using hand and rope to pull it.
Okay, so what do you expect from this probe, the outcome?
What I expect from this probe is that our people who go to that place to get contracts and take the money, and they are constantly having breakfast in hotels in London with our money, should be held accountable. Because we see them. And they are the ones who are constantly making it look like the Northerners are enemies of our people. Meanwhile, they are the real enemies. They are the ones who are with us there. They are our brothers and sisters. They are our enemies, but they occupy this political platform and make it look like Buhari is the enemy of the people, that the Northerners are holding us down. It is not true. Because we share affinity with them in that place. I come from Delta State. We have our brothers in that place who believe we are not original Deltas, who marginalize us, who create they can create all sorts of lines because of the same oil wealth that has been transferred to that state. So I think that somebody needs to be held accountable.
Chukwu Nwoko, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.